So last time in Gachiakuta, Jabber came on the scene to kidnap Ruto for his boss. He instantly got Zanka with paralysis poison and blocked off the exit. Additionally, he even got Gree fatally, and watching him near death made Ruto awaken his powers. He used the talisman Gree cherished, but Jabber saw the loophole in it. That talisman only blocked attacks aimed with killing intent, so JB used a powerful neurotoxin to make his mind go numb. And in that half-sleep state, Jabber became a mad dog without a leash. His strikes became even more deadly than before, and Ruto couldn't block them with the talisman this time. Watching that weirdo, Ruto thought he was a masochist because once some bully told him that, so he went to Recto to ask what it meant, and obviously Recto didn't spoil the kid with the truth anyways. Right now that half-baked brain was running rampant and Ruto was giving it his all just to dodge his attacks, but thankfully Zanka's entrance stopped him for the time being. The poison in him was slowly wearing off, so he wanted to get some payback from Jabber. He had watched their fight for a while and already figured out that the talisman only worked if killing intent was directed at Ruto. And since Zanka's body was still stiff from the paralysis poison, he thought of trying out his theory. If he tried to hit Ruto and Ruto deflects him, they could attack Jabber with good force, so Ruto thought, why not if it meant beating up that weirdo? So Zanka got ready and tried to strike him, and boom, the talisman worked and they were able to attack Jabber. But it also ticked Ruto off that Zanka was attacking him with all his heart. Still, their strategy was working, so they applied it on Jabber and quickly defeated him, but for some reason the talisman turned into ashes and vanished into the air. It was heartbreaking to watch, but Ruto then fell stiff like a log and Zanka saw the cut on his waist. Even while being beaten up, Jabber managed to get him. It made no sense that he was able to even walk, so Jabber lets Zanka in on his secret. His left claw had poison, but if taken in light dosage it could neutralize pain, so at the end Jabber won and he took Ruto away. Man, that was a good heartfelt moment for the guy as he lumps onto the surface for being successful. But his happy moment turned sideways as the cleaners arrived. Engine got him for good with that strike, and by the looks on their faces they were pissed. But first Engine told the supporter to go find the injured and help them. And then Jabby woke up again looking over the moon in happiness, because for Jabber, fighting was like breathing, so forget the orders. Even if it meant death, he wanted to fight all of them together. But suddenly a girl appeared out of nowhere to stop Jabber. She told him the boss ordered to get back, and he laughed while saying this. That laughter struck fear even in Jabber's heart, so he obeyed the order. But before leaving he noticed Ruto's vital instruments were from the series, so he planned to come prepared the next time they met. Others couldn't make sense of what they heard, but right now Gree was taking his last breath. So they went there to stay with him in his final moments. The one most affected was Ruto because he broke the one thing Gree cared for so much. And in silence and grief they came back to the HQ. Ruto couldn't get inside as his heart was crushing from the grief, so Engine tried to be there for Ruto. Ruto was breaking apart because what happened with Regto happened here as well, and just like before he couldn't do anything. So Engine told him that Gree knew what he was doing, so all Ruto could do was give him the proper respect he deserved. Ruto steeled his heart to attend the funeral, but surprisingly the dead came back to life. Shocking, right? That's why Engine and that girl tried to comfort him for being sad all this time, but moreover, how did this happen? So the miracle came from the medic of the cleaners called Aisha. She was shy, but she was the only giver in the cleaners who had healing powers, so Gree was very thankful to her, and to Fowl as well. He was the one who contacted HQ for backup after all, and about the talisman. He assured Ruto not to worry because that thing had served its purpose, which couldn't make him more happier. And back to the main topic. They had heard raiders mentioning the border at some point, so the boss of the cleaners himself came to talk. The boss apologized to Ruto for arriving so late. He heard about Ruto finding information to get back to Sphere, that's why he was joining only temporarily. At first the boss thought of kicking him out, but the way Ruto showed his kindness made the boss change his mind. And about that border, they managed to gather info on it. The border lays between Sphere and the ground, and anyone who tried to cross it dies. But there was a story that it existed in no man's land and a woman lived there. Once a traveler was saved by that woman. So he asked her why she stays there, and she said, she watches people falling from the sky, and sometimes people also came and went without dying. Now that also meant there were some who crossed the border, and the woman might have seen how. Which meant they have to track down that woman to get answers. Then Engine came in and saw Ruto got his cleaner's uniform. And right after getting it, Ruto sets off to find that woman in no man's land. But that no man's land meant trash beasts would be everywhere, so Ruto had to fully grasp his power first and its limits. Going there was suicide, so Engine was planning to join him on this since they had to be wary of raiders too. Ruto always thought the ones who took care of things were good and the ones who didn't were evil, so Engine had to teach him that even people with trashy attitudes could be people who treasured something dear to them. Because caring for one object might seem weird to others, and who knows how badly they get treated for that. But that doesn't mean their love for that object is fake, even if they are evil. Anyways, Engine suggested Ruto to take a break because the last few days were non-stop action, but in that break Rio came to fill it with some fun. She gave Ruto a tour of the HQ, and while talking Rio found out that Ruto had never eaten sweets because they were a luxury item. But guess what, here they had some as they traded with a special group of people called Vendor. Sweets here were also rare and even more addictive than drugs. That's why Engine warned Ruto not to fall for this poison, but one bite and the poor guy lost his mind, and as time passed Ruto wiped out the whole stock of sweets on his own. And after that came training. Ruto's powers were to turn anything into vital instruments, but it wasn't working on a normal blade, so Zanka had a theory. He knew Ruto liked to fix things up, so maybe his powers might work on broken objects. So the freeloaders gathered up some garbage from the area and brought it in, and suddenly Ruto's powers worked. Zanka did one good job there, more so. Ruto could actively make more than one object into vital instruments, but it also took a toll on his body. And Engine knew the problem lies in his weak body. Those gloves were of high quality. The quality of vital instruments depends on how long they had been cared for, and Ruto had taken care of those gloves since childhood, so their quality was top-notch, but that also made them harder for Ruto to control. But why did that talisman fall apart while these objects were fine? Rio thought maybe it had something to do with their purpose. The things Ruto could turn into vital instruments were objects that had failed to serve their purpose. So once the object fulfilled its role, it falls apart. So what happened with the talisman wasn't Ruto's fault. Meanwhile, the boss of the raiders got full info on Ruto and his series. So next time things will get even more intense when they crossed paths. And right there are 2 episode ends, so stay tuned to watch the next one as well. And for that, subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon, or you might miss it.